So tomorrow is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, 2025, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about some controversy behind MLK through the years that I've heard. I've heard a lot of pastors say that they felt he is not truly a Christian, and I thought, well, how can this be? He's a pastor, we celebrate his day for the civil rights movement and the huge impact he had on that. So I started digging into some of the things that Martin Luther King believes, and it's hard to tell because he has some early writings. And so how much of that he believed later in life, I don't know. At any rate, here is John MacArthur's perspective.
Was a year later, they did the same thing for Martin Luther King, who was not a Christian at all, whose life was immoral. I'm not saying he didn't do some social good, and I've always been glad that he was a pacifist.
Why did John MacArthur claim that Martin Luther King Jr. was not a Christian? Well, it looks like back during his time at Crozier Theological Seminary, King expressed thoughts on certain topics that are very orthodox in Christianity, and so it does bring the question of what his beliefs were regarding the deity of Christ, the virgin birth, the divinity of Jesus, and especially the resurrection of Jesus. Now, regarding the resurrection, there are conflicting accounts. And, through the years, all of us can say if we wrote papers earlier in our life like he did and compared what we thought about Jesus and about the Christianity in general to what we might have believed later, there would be some potential changes. I know there are in my life. So it's hard to get focused on writings from long ago that he wrote. However, if he did not change his view on some of these, it would cause us to draw a conclusion that he may not be a Christian, because certainly the resurrection of Jesus is a huge doctrine, not to mention the other ones I just mentioned. And so that is why John MacArthur brings this up, because from all the evidence he can see, it does not appear that Martin Luther King fully believed the gospel.
There was a man who has a monument now in Washington, D.C. That man was a neo-Marxist and a socialist and a pastor and a tremendous orator, and his name was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was wrong on the gospel, and he was wrong on worldview as a liberal Marxist socialist, but he left a tremendous legacy.